Welcome to 99th Monkey Liberty News for Monday, April 28th, 2014. Years ago there was a book called Future Shock, and the book proposed that at some point in the future changes would come so quickly that our human brains and human emotions would not be able to cope with the changes. And those changes were, the subject was technology, but I think we've been able to keep up with the technology so far. However, there are changes, and there is information that has become, I find, very difficult to process, to keep up with. I'm going to continue to try. But as I often recommend, I hope that you will do your own research and draw your own conclusions, because, as I said, I'm processing, and there are things I want to present and things I want to communicate, but this information is not absolutely guaranteed. So again, please do your own research. From Benjamin Fulford: Obama threatens mayhem after failing to cash forged bonds during Asian trip. And Fulford paints a picture here of basically a world that wants to move ahead but is being held back by the U.S. And I suspect that is true. I don't have any problem believing that, actually. It is incumbent upon us in this country to participate, to communicate, and to do what we can to promote change. That's my belief, and I'm sticking to it. This is very interesting. I don't want to scroll down. I don't want to give away what the paid portion of the blog. But typically by tomorrow, Tuesday or Wednesday, you will probably be able to see a video on YouTube that is a speaking and audio of this message. And I do recommend listening to it. Now, this one is for free. And this was reposted on 2012, The Real Truth. But this is also on Fulford's blog. Ben Fulford, a follow-up question on his blog, and Ben's answer. This is some deep, complex information, and there are a lot of issues being raised here. This person challenges Fulford that Fulford is defending the Catholic Church and its leadership and the Queen of England, and that goes against what most have learned. This is not a warranted endorsement. Both institutions have a very shady past, and most don't think they deserve to continue in any form given their hundreds of years of crimes against humanity. Care to comment? And there is even more information given on things that Kevin Annett has proposed, stated, and then Fulford responds to this person who questioned him about this, and it's worth. Don't have time to read all of this, but it is well worth the read. And if you, like I am, are trying to piece together some kind of a puzzle of what's going on in the world that makes some kind of sense, this is information that you will want to consider. More information that you will want to consider is found on the blog Mercy Triumphs, and I mentioned this on Friday. Donna and I mentioned it in our Pearls of Liberty on Saturday. William Van Dyne, who represents himself to Fritz as being, for lack of a better phrase, king of the world, the reigning leader of the Illuminati, has extended a hand of friendship to Fritz Springmeier and asked Fritz to introduce him to at least Fritz's followers on Facebook, and I don't think it's an exaggeration to say to the world, certainly to alternative media people who are likely to have an interest. So there are some other articles on Mercy Triumph. This post is from Fritz yesterday evening, Protecting Our First Liberty, Health. And there's actually kind of a veiled warning here, maybe not so veiled. What Fritz is learning from Mr. Van Dyne is that, among other things, that the Illuminati see us as victims of our own greed, our own stupidity, whatever. We are all prisoners here of our own device, as Don Henley sang in Hotel California. This is difficult to argue with on one level. On another level, because we've been manipulated, marketed half to death, received poor education. But again, the statement here, the idea here is that it is incumbent upon us to struggle and to fight for our own existence. Perhaps that is not entirely unreasonable. However, it seems unreasonable to me that someone would put himself or herself in the position of dictating that to other people, particularly when they are perhaps hoping to have some of their own shortcomings overlooked. So there are a couple of things I want to address here. One is, it seems like there are quite a few people who are claiming to have the ability to bring reform to the world. Fulford represents one group. Maybe Fulford probably represents more than one group, actually. Fritz has been asked to represent the Van Dyne portion, at least, of the Illuminati, and I don't really know what the structure is, but these people are bringing us, the rest of us, common people, as Fritz referred to us, I think, proposals, and they're aware that they need to interact with us, and we can't just be ignored. Too many people are becoming aware, and there needs to be an acknowledgement of the 99%. It's actually like 99.9% or something. But so there is that aspect, but I also want to specifically look at what Fritz wrote here about health. It is our responsibility to see that we are healthy. These people see, Mr. Van Dyne sees us as, again, prisoners of our own device. When we eat fast food, when we eat things that are unhealthy, we basically are inviting a dark future and a short life. I can't completely argue with that, though, as I said, the advertisement, the manipulation, the deception creates a slippery slope for us to fall down into bad health and a poor lifestyle. So I'm looking a little bit today at our responsibility to care for ourselves and to impact what is around us to the extent that we are able, and to be aggressive. Donald Sterling's NBA racism rant leads to call for universal human dignity. This is from Natural News. Now, to me, this is the argument that also needs to be raised by us as and if negotiations take place with people who are claiming to be the rightful heirs of the rulership of the world. Denouncing the dehumanization of valuable souls. I see people, I try to see people as God sees us, every one of us created in His image. And let's face it, racism is a huge part of eugenics. I mean, they're not quite synonymous. But imposing difficulties on people, on a race, intentionally so that they fail, or so that they're, likely to fail. Sure, they can struggle and get out of it, but this just does not seem wholesome to me. It does not seem like, I can't see somebody selling this as a good intention. And this racism thing came up, this Donald Sterling thing came up over the weekend. And it ties in because some people do have an attitude that certain races, certain genetic characteristics are more valuable than others. I don't see anybody in a position, any person in a position to be able to make that kind of a call. And I believe that, those of us who are white, who are struggling for liberty, who have become more aware of some of these other these issues of how we're challenged, if we have African American friends, neighbors, people at church, I hope that we will let them know that, hey, there are people who are intentionally trying to kill you with bad food. And of course that applies to all of us. But some people are more in the sights, more targeted than others. And I believe it's incumbent upon us who know this is going on to let other people know. And at first, they might hate you, they might reject you, they might end their friendship with you, they might defriend you on Facebook. But this is your integrity. This is you someday standing before God and saying, this is how I behaved in this situation. That's the way I see that. Now, interestingly enough, Mr. Van Dyne and some of those people are hoping to install Hillary Clinton as the next U.S. president. I hope maybe they will, if we can learn from them, I hope they will learn from us. Hillary Clinton mocks Snowden, displays her ignorance when it comes to whistleblowers. Dear sirs, madams, if you are listening to this, if you come across this information, please consider again. If you're such good, judges of potential and character, maybe look again at Hillary, please. Anyway, I won't vote for sure. I'll be out somewhere demanding that Rand Paul be given his place in the Republican primaries. From YouTube, David Icke, the Bloody Rothschilds. Just some little blast of reality here. The wealth of the Rothschilds could feed, clothe, and shelter every human being on this earth. This is David Icke speaking, not me. Bloody murdering genetic hybrids, I give you the Rothschilds. And if you have 10 minutes, this is a reasonable way to spend it. Gotta love David Icke. He's a crusader. From Yahoo News, killer virus spreads unchecked through U.S. hog belt, pushing pork to record high prices. And I have another article here. I don't eat pork, but I'm including this. Well, okay, occasionally, very occasionally, maybe 3 or 4 times a year, I might eat bacon. But the fact that this is happening I bring it up not because it's pork, but because it's agriculture. From Activist Post, extremely contagious pig virus has already killed more than 4 million hogs in the U.S. And As this author at Activist Post, Michael Snyder, suggests, it's very likely that being fed GMO feed has contributed to this epidemic. And another thought in this vein is that they would like to get, Monsanto and people who want to own genetic code want to geoengineer hogs. And if the natural hogs all die, I would guess it would be just that much easier for them to introduce genetically modified hogs. So, again, even in the health, considering health, if you can wean yourself off of pork, probably not a bad move. I don't strictly keep kosher, but I do consider kosher laws because I figure that God made those laws for a reason, probably to preserve our health. And of course, Peter was told that he could rise, Peter, kill, and eat, and eat all the unclean animals, and with the blood of Jesus, that would be okay. But certainly, we just need to wisely consider what we are eating. From the New York Times, the Koch attack on solar energy. At long last, the Koch brothers said the Koch brothers and their conservative allies in state government have found a new tax they can support. Naturally, it's a tax on something the country needs: solar energy panels. Well, if there are truly good intentions among what we refer to as the ruling elite, I would hope that we will very soon see the release of the 5,000 plus stifled patents, some of which are for free, clean, limitless energy sources. And this become a moot point. And again, I'm all for, and I've stated this not today, but on other days, I'm all for living completely off the grid so that every bit of the work that you do benefits you and your family. And that can happen when you raise your own food. When you're off the grid, you can generate your own power, which will not be taxed. And although, of course, this is on solar energy panels. I picked up on this because Cynthia McKinney has been writing about this on Facebook. And as time goes by, she's actually one of the voices that I have the most respect for. She never takes a false shot, as far as I'm concerned. And so this came to my attention through her Voice of Detroit, the city's independent newspaper, Unbossed and Unbought. And the article is free. Reverend Edward Pinkney, recall Whirlpool stooge, Benton Harbor Mayor James Hightower. And Reverend Pinkney was charged with, I think this said, 5 felony counts. And here it is. Charged with 5 felony counts of election fraud, each carrying up to 5 years in prison, and 6 misdemeanors. His supporters say it is an attempt to stop the May 6th election recall of Whirlpool ally Mayor James Hightower. And this is an interesting story because they sent a SWAT team to Reverend Pinkney's house and he wasn't there. So, if you get that vibe that you might be in trouble, just stay away from your house. Take a clue from spy movies and, where people take off their jacket and put on a hat and just kind of merge into the crowd. He did become aware that they were looking for him and he did turn himself in, but he was able to go with some dignity with his attorney, not being assaulted in his house by a SWAT team. So certainly we can be in prayer for Reverend Pinkney in that situation. And if you are so inclined, hey, write some letters, make some phone calls, especially if you live in that neck of the woods. from an RT video, 3 Sickening Ways America is Criminalizing Being Poor. And this has to do with communities that are making it illegal to do things like sleep in a car, illegal to just various things, illegal to give money to people on the street, illegal to feed the homeless. So anti-Christian, completely anti-Christian. It's shocking, stunning. You know, some of the people that Jesus ministered to were, there was one lame guy who was healed, who was just lying next to a pool. That was where he was. He did not live in a house. He stayed at this pool, hoping for an angel to stir the water so that he could be healed. And Jesus did heal him. So this is, this is just wrong. So much of what is happening in our country is just wrong. And yeah, we're all embarrassed to see homeless people. I don't like being in San Francisco, walking down Market Street, smelling that smell. People have urinated on the sidewalks, whatever. But there has to be a better answer than just making it illegal to be homeless and to be poor. And let's all put our heads together. Let's take one night a week away from TV or whatever, and try to figure out some ideas for how we can help these people. The Bundy crisis stirred the idea in me to, hey, send homeless people out, let them live on some federal land. Show them how to make low-cost housing, dirt bag housing, whatever. Teach them about aquaculture. Teach them how to grow their own food, and give people a chance. And certainly a lot of people who are illegal immigrants. Yes, I'm using the word illegal. Sorry if it offends you. Immigrants can be also given some public land, and maybe temporarily, just till they can figure something out, whatever, get a foothold. And the more of us who live off the grid and are self-sufficient, independent, the better off this country will be. From heraldscotland.com, I just found this interesting. Thousands of staff line up to sue RBS, that's Royal Bank of Scotland, over its allegedly misleading £12.3 billion rights issue. Are current or former members of staff at the bank. So just a sign here that people are not going to continue to be abused. People are becoming aware and saying, no, you didn't, not to me. I think that's a good thing. From RT, U.S. city to pump sewage water directly into homes. Now, this little video paints this as a very negative thing. But this is actually my good news portion for today, having to do with reclaimed water. As I said, they frame this as being negative, and I can see how people, might kind of turn up their noses at this. However, part of the process that they're using here is reverse osmosis. And reverse osmosis takes virtually everything out of water, even takes, good minerals out. It takes almost everything out of water. So this may not be such a bad idea. Now, there is a better idea because this water has to go through pipes to be processed and then come back clean. Why not just let people process the water at their own home, and then you can save a lot in transporting the water, pumping the water, and Also, just the sewage pipes and the water pipes. And these pipes are made out of tile, most of them. You've probably seen them, the ceramic tile. And, you know, if there's an earthquake or any kind of a shift in the ground, any kind of, impact, an accident, a truck that's too heavy driving over it, whatever, they crack and break, which means that a lot of sewage is leaking into the ground. And this is a real problem. I mean, of course, we have, oil spills. I realize that we have a lot of significant water issues. But the fact that sewage and everything that's in it leaks into the ground is a serious problem. So the reclamator is something that can actually just be put, on an individual property. Now they're stating here that there is a community in Arizona that is supporting the reclamator. Transforms 100% of all household wastewater to pure potable water. So there are people who are moving toward more, truly responsible solutions and truly renewable solutions. But one thing about the reclamator, it's crucial that it actually be on people's property so we can eliminate the sewage pipes. The Clean Water Act states that the best technology for processing water and preventing pollution must be used. And this was from 1972, and we still have a lot of these, these nasty pipes in place when there is the reclamator that could replace them, eliminate them, and protect groundwater from having sewage leached into it. With that happy thought that we can have, there is better technology, there are solutions to our problems, there are better ways to do things. We just need to make our voices heard and insist that we be permitted to live. This is the Clean Water Act states that the best technology available must be used. Hey, we want for all the people of the world the best lifestyle that is available. Thank you for tuning in for today's 99th Monkey Liberty News. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Hoping that you will love one another, take care, and enforce the Bill of Rights.